I'd like to talk to you today about a red dot alignment tool or sighting device that we have for the CLS-20 color light signals. Before I get into the red dot system, I'd like to have a small review of the signal itself. Here's the CLS-20 signal. This is, in my opinion, a very, very good signal. The quality, the material is very good, the lenses are excellent. On this unit here, it's rear surfaceable. In other words, you can take out 3 screws from the back and you can do all the maintenance from the back. You can pull the whole unit right out, clean lenses, change lenses, all your maintenance can be done right out of the back of the unit. It is a very, very good concept for signals. When you loosen the 3 screws, I have a unit right here. The whole unit will come right out the back. You have an outer lens, you have an inner lens, you got an incandescent bulb, you got a bulb socket, and a bulb bracket. It's very important that the bulb filament is right in the center of both these lenses, because if the filament is a little bit to the right, the signal beam will go left. If it's a little left, the beam goes to the right. If it's high, it goes low. Low, it goes high. For you guys that's been out in the field where you adjusted the signals and you found the red maybe aligned to the north and your green is aimed to the south, that's what's going on. Your bulb filaments are not looking through the lenses the same way. Also, with the filament in the center of the lenses, you can get a lot better focus out of your signal. And a lot better focus is a lot better signal. That's the basics of the signal. Let's get into the red dot kit. Here's the red dot kit. It comes in a nice carrying case. It's heavy duty plastic. It's waterproof and it's all foam lined to protect the scope. You have an compartment right here on the top. You have the instructions from the scope company, my business card. There's a feeler gauge in there, and there's also an alignment rod. And we'll get into that in a little bit. Inside the kit, we have a couple templates, and there's written instructions. There's step-by-step written instructions in the kit. And I'd just like to go over right at the top, there's an attention added to the instructions. When you're using the sighting device, you got to open the back door, you got to remove the bulb, and you got to disconnect the power from the bulb. That will affect the movement of trains. So I want the person using the sighting device to follow all safety and operating instructions issued to him by his railroad. Okay. There's really 2 parts to the red dot system. One is actual field alignment, and the other one is bulb filament alignment and focusing. I'd like to go into the field alignment procedure first, and I just grabbed this out of the box. This is the alignment scope, so we'll get into that in a little bit. Okay, field alignment. On this unit here, we got 2 units. This could be 3, could be 4. Okay, what I want you to do is pick out the most convenient head to work on. And this one right here would be this unit right here. What you need to do is loosen these 3 screws. On my former railroad, and the railroad I retired from, I've probably done, close to 600 to 700 of these units myself personally. Of all those units, I found about 20% of these bolts, they were seized up. Can't get them out with a regular screwdriver. What you're going to need is an impact drill. This is a DeWalt 18 volt cordless, and it's an impact driver. and this has got a number DC825. It's got a 5-inch extension on it, and it's got a number 3 Phillips head tip on it. You're going to need one of these. The kit does not come with one. You're going to have to buy it separately. I bought this at Lowe's. You're going to need one. And basically you put it on the screws and it will take those screws out. You're going to need one. Okay, field alignment. You take the most convenient head. You loosen these 3 screws. You take the unit and twist it, and you can pull it right out through the back. Now gently let it hang by the wires. It won't hurt a thing. Just make sure you don't short nothing out. It won't hurt a thing. You take your alignment scope. You want to turn your alignment scope on, and how you do that is a knob right on the top of your scope, and it has 11 settings. 11 being the brightest, 1 being the dimmest, 0 is off. When you're finished aligning your signal, you want to make sure you turn that to 0. That's off. If you don't, the next time you want to use it, your battery will be dead. And I found of all these I've done, the setting I like was between 7, 8, and 9. So I'm going to turn the setting on 8. Install it into your unit. You want to tighten all these screws. Save a little time, I won't tighten them. Now here's the procedure. You look right through the center of the scope. There'll be a red dot. What you want to do is, on straight and level track, you want to adjust the red dot so it's right in the center of the track, approximately a half a mile away. Now, I've tried all the different distances. A half a mile seems to be the best of both worlds. You get a good close-up signal and you get a very good signal far out. The half a mile doesn't have to be exact. You can drive along the tracks, odometer out with your truck, drive along the highway. It's really nice if you got a high railer, but approximately a half a mile. Now, I like to use a road crossing, a switch point, edge of the woods. After you do a couple of these, you get a very good idea of how far half a mile away is. If a road crossing is 7/10 of a mile away, just back up about 2/10, and on straight and level track, adjust your red dot right there. Now, if your track is on a curve, I want you to use some common sense. Basically, wherever that red dot is looking at is the center or the focus of your signal. There is some spread to these units, and approximately what the spread is, at a half a mile away, your signal will spread 75 feet one way and 75 feet the other way. So you've got a 150-foot spread at a half a mile. So use some common sense. If it's on a curve, wherever you put that dot, you got a little spread, and you just pick out a spot where you want that trainman to pick up the signal. Uphill, downhill, same thing. Use some common sense. How you're adjusting. Wherever the red dot is where your signal's looking to. All right. A little review of how to adjust the signal. You have this bolt right here. This is your adjusting bolt. This is your up and down, your elevation bolt. And you got your left and your right adjusting bolts. What you need to do is you need to loosen this bolt right here on the bottom first. You need to loosen your elevation bolt before you try to tighten your left and right bolts. If you don't, there's a good chance that you'll bust one of these ears off, and that's exactly what's happened here. You need to loosen your elevation screw first, adjust left and right, tighten them, then take it up and down, tighten it. That's how you adjust your signal. Okay, after your signal is adjusted, you want to remove your scope. Make sure you turn your scope to 0. Save the battery in your scope. You need to reinstall your Okay, that completes your field alignment. And like I said earlier, if it's a 2-colored unit or a 3 or a 4, whichever's bolted in this rack, by adjusting one of the lights, the other 2 or 3 or 4, whatever, will follow. You adjust one, they're all field aligned. Your field alignment is done. Okay, the next step is bulb filament alignment. And before I get into that, the railroad where I used to work and where I retired from, they sent me to the Satran factory twice. The first time I was still an employee, and that was October 28th of 2009, and I went to Louisville. The second time I was retired, and that was May 29th of 2012, and I went to Marion, Kentucky. The second time, the reason they wanted me to go there, the railroad where I used to work wanted me to show the guys in the factory my settings, how I was adjusting the signals. This railroad wanted the factory adjustment to match the red dot sighting scope. To make a long story short, I've showed them my settings and my procedure, how I was doing it. They adopted my settings and my style, at least for that railroad anyway, that I know of. They adopted it. And what they've done, so that railroad will know, so that railroad's employees will know that it's factory aligned and they do not have to adjust the bulbs. They're putting a red dot right on the base of that bulb. That way that railroad's employees know that they're done, they don't have to adjust the bulbs. I do not know if they're doing that for all railroads. But if you do open your signal and you see that red dot, you do not have to adjust your bulb filaments. If there's no red dot there, I strongly suggest you continue on with the bulb adjustment. And how you do that, you have 2 bulb adjusted templates. Comes with the kit. Why does it take 2? First of all, when they first started making these signals, up to the year 2010, their bulb bracket was a little different. The bulb bracket was on a 90-degree angle, like it should be. And that bracket, right here, if the camera can show it, right here on the bulb base, there's blank. There's no initials, no nothing. On this side you have the piece number, and that's 044004. That's just the piece number. So in other words, from up to the time they started making the signals to the year 2000, they was using this bulb bracket. And I call that a non-BH, which is black. Okay. From the year 2010 from the year 2000 up to the year 2010. And when I went to the factory at Louisville in 2009, I brought this to their attention. And I'm pretty sure that's why they changed back to the original bracket. But anyway, from 2000 to 2010, their vendor, a different vendor, was making their bulb brackets. And the new bracket, if you can see it, it has initial BH right there. and you got your piece number on this side. What's up with this bulb bracket, it's not on a 90-degree angle like your other bracket. Right back here where you tighten the bulb socket, it's not on a straight line, it's on a curve. So when you tighten the bulb socket will lean back and go down. Okay? And that socket takes the template BH, it's the red one. Since my trip to Louisville in 2009, I caught wind of it through the grapevine that sometime in 2010 they reverted back to the older bracket. I didn't know for sure. In 2012 when I went to Marion, I found out for sure that they went back to the older bracket where it was a 90-degree, but the bracket still has the initial BH on it. I know this is sounding a little confusing, but bear with me, and the written instructions cover all this. So it's in the instructions. So from now on, to tell which template to use, when you go up the signal, there's a feeler gauge with the kit. This feeler gauge is 3/1000ths of an inch thick. A normal piece of paper, just a regular piece of white paper, is 3/5,000ths. So they're almost identically the same. What you need to do is you go up the signal, you take the feeler gauge, and because the BH bulb leans back, you're able to slide, and I'm going to see if I can put that right here. Let me get it this way. Can you focus in on it? You take your feeler gauge and you can slide it between the plastic holder and the aluminum bracket. You can slide that feeler gauge in approximately 1/4 of an inch. Some's a little less, some's a little more than 1/4. But if you can slide that feeler gauge in there, you need to use the red template. And it's in the instructions. Now, on the 90-degree brackets, or be the black template, if you take your siding or your bulb bracket, you cannot slide that feeler gauge in there. It won't fit. You can't get it in there. If you can't get the feeler gauge between the plastic and the aluminum housing, you want to use the black template. And that's how you can tell which template you need to use. Okay, let's continue on with the bulb adjustment. This unit right here, I can slide the feeler gauge in. This is a BH unit. Okay, we've already established we need to use the BH, which is the red template. You need to go remove the bulb. The next thing you need to do, you need to remove one of the wires to that bulb socket. The reason you need to do that is the first step you need to do, you need to take your guide pin. You need to, I don't know if you need to zoom in on this, but you need to push down on that spring and pull the wire. Insert your guide pin right into the bulb socket. Right where the bulb would have went in and turned is where your pins, the pin holders, hold the bulb in the socket. Now by inserting that stainless steel rod, that's why you want to make sure you unhook your wire, or otherwise that would short out your signal system. Make sure you remove one wire. Okay. What you want is you want that guide pin pointing right straight back at you. You want it perpendicular to the lens. It's not uncommon to find that right there out into the field. When I went to Louisville in October 2009, I brought this to their attention also. Since then, they've corrected this problem. What you need to do, if you find this, you need that guide pin right straight back at you. Get you a pair of good channel locks or gas pliers. This is a good pair of vice grips I bought at Lowe's. And right on the base of your bulb filament, I mean all the way down at the bottom, get as low as you can, because you don't, all the way to the bottom as low. Take your vice grips and put it right on that bulb socket, and you can forcefully tweak that guide pin right straight back at you. I've done a lot of them. Just be patient and tweak that. You can align it right straight back at you. That's the very first step that you need to do. Okay, that's lined straight back. Remove your guide pin. Next step, you need to loosen your bracket screw, your two bottom bracket screws. You let your bulb base just fly. Now, you need to loosen your two bottom lens screws. And I'm going to show you a little trick that will help you do that. One thing, by putting your template in there, you might find that this terminal block could hit your template, so just loosen that so it can move out of your way. These screws are 3/8 of an inch long. Your plate of your template is 3/16. You got a little bit more than an 1/8 inch on these screws to play with. You don't want to take these screws all the way out and drop them and lose them. What you do is you loosen both of these screws about halfway. Install your template right on top of your screws. Now you can use the template as a gauge to how far to bring the screws out. Now slowly, and be patient, because you don't want to drop those screws. And slowly screw them back. Take them both one at a time. And like I said, be patient and take your time, and they'll fall right in place. Then evenly tighten your template. Just take it back and forth and tighten it. If I can back up a little bit, on your template, if you will put a little bit of lithium grease or no-ox on these countersink holes and even in your bulb socket, that'll help you tighten those. It's a little trick I do. You can do that if you want to, but I maintain a light coating of lithium grease on those. Okay, your template's tight. Okay, your bulb is adjusted 3 ways, and I want you taking them one step at a time. The first is left and right, then in and out, and up and down. The first step is left and right, so I want you to put the bulb base right into the mold, and I like to put my finger on top here, and when she's right lined up to the top, I hold in with my thumb. Tighten your bottom screws, the bulb socket screws. The next step is to loosen your in and out your focusing screw. Now you may need to loosen some of that lacquer sealant paint they got on it so the bulb socket slides easy. Just loosen it, slide it right into the mold, and hold it tight. Then tighten it. Now, I'd like you to repeat the left and right and the in and out again, because it's not uncommon when you find, especially on the BH units, that the bulb socket is back too far. If you redo these 2 steps, you'll get a little bit better or a precise better alignment. And it don't take that long, so just basically do your left and right again. And do your in and out again. Like I said, you'll get a little better adjustment. Take it in and out, put it right into the mold, hold it, tighten it. Now we got one more adjustment, that's up and down. You loosen your bottom 2 lens, your bulb bracket, take your guide pin, push down on the spring and pull down on the wire at the same time. Install your guide pin into your bulb socket again. It'll go through the bulb socket and it will line up and go right through the template. There's a hole in the template that it lines right up with. Tighten your bulb bracket screws. Release your guide pin. Now you need to remove your template, and like I said, just be patient with these screws. You don't want to drop them. Just slowly take it back and forth, reach in, and you can slide your template right out. Tighten all your screws. Okay, you can hook your wire back up, or you want to make sure you tighten this terminal block if you loosened it. Hook your wire back up and you can install your bulb. Your bulb alignment and your focusing is complete. And this adjustment matches your red dot scope. Since we have a two-colored head here, you need to align all the heads in this stack. And we have a bottom head that would need to be lined the same way. If we had 3 or 4, you need to line all 3 or 4 of them. But that is your bulb filament. This head is complete. I'm going to go into the bottom unit just for a little bit because it's a little tougher to do because of this big terminal block. The reason is your template, when you install it behind, will hit this big terminal block. Well, let me back up just a little bit. A little tip that I've used when I go up the signal, I'll take a 5-gallon bucket. This bottom unit is way down low on the deck a lot of times, and it's hard to stoop down or kneel down. I carry up a 5-gallon bucket, and I got my templates, my impact driver, I got my sighting device, I got my screwdriver, my wrenches, my meter. I got all my tools in a 5-gallon bucket. When I get up the signal, I pull the bucket up, I get up, I lay all my tools out on the deck, I flip the bucket over and I use it as a seat. It works excellent on this bottom unit. Okay, the bottom unit's a little tougher to do because of this terminal block. Take the bulb out, put your guide pin, make sure you disconnect the wire. You don't want to short out your signal system. Push down on the bulb socket and pull with the wire. Insert your guide pin into the guide pin of the bulb. Make sure your socket points right straight back at you. Okay, this one does. Remove the guide pin. Now, it's not uncommon, sometimes with vandalism, whatever, this unit could be a non-BH or it could be a BH. So you need to check with your feeler gauge right along the side here to see which template to use. This is a non-BH unit. You need, let me try the feeler gauge. Yeah, it won't fit in there. This is a non-BH unit. You want to use the black template. You loosen these screws for your big terminal block. You do not have to take the screws all the way out. On your bottom screw, a lot of times they have a terminal strap across the bottom. They got your common wire here, and you got your neutral bus right here. Take your wire off, remove that terminal strap, and just move your wire right over to the neutral bus and throw the strap away. But you need to take that off to get at this screw. And you loosen that screw. You don't have to take them off, just let your terminal block flop. And I'm going to go through this real quick, just like I adjusted this top. So, and I'll talk you through it. You loosen your bottom terminal, your bulb bracket. Loosen your bottom screws about halfway. Take your black template, insert it, want it between the clips and the screw head. Insert your template right on top of screw heads. Slowly loosen those screw heads until they just start to drop in. There they go. Tighten your templates. Insert your bulb socket right into the base. Tighten your bottom ball bracket screws. Remove your focusing screw. Make sure all of the sealant paint's off of it. Slide it into the mold. Tighten your screw. And like I said, you want to repeat this twice. You just get a little bit better adjustment. Put it right back into the mold. Take the in and out, just slide it in and out, slide it right into the mold, hold it, tighten it. Loosen your ball brackets again. Take your guide pin, push down on the spring, and pull down on the wire, insert it into your socket, push it through the mold, push it through the template. Tighten your screws. Remove your guide pin. Remove your template. Make sure you tighten all your screws back up. Don't forget your terminal blocks. Hook up your wire. Put your light bulb back in. This two-colored head is complete. It's done. We did field alignment. We did bulb filament alignment and focusing. This signal's done. I would suggest before you do anything to signal, drive down the track and look at it first. Then after you're done the field alignment and the bulb alignment, drive back and you're going to notice quite a bit of difference in your signal. That's the fun part of it. That's pretty much everything I wanted to cover. I hope this DVD gives you a little better understanding of how the red dot alignment tool works and how to adjust the bulbs and how you can use it in the field. I want to thank you for your time and have a good day.